What's up, everyone? Welcome back to A Life Without Parole. Now, you might be thinking, why is a true crime reporter diving into royal family drama? And that's a fair question. But as someone who has spent years examining the darkest corners of human behavior and the devastating consequences of negligence and malice, I see a potential catastrophe brewing within the House of Windsor. It's a situation where personal grievances and rigid protocols could tragically outweigh the fundamental responsibilities to protect human life. We are talking, of course, about the ongoing and deeply troubling situation surrounding Prince Harry and the withdrawal of his official security detail. While the headlines are filled with opinions, accusations, and the usual royal soap opera theatrics, the bottom line for me screams a potential tragedy waiting to happen. This isn't just about a family squabble played out on the world stage. This is about the safety and well-being of a man, his wife, and his children who, by birthright, remain high-profile targets. I personally believe King Charles has chosen to withhold effective security as a consequence to Harry not adhering to royal rules. Give me a minute to complain and explain. See what I did there? As someone who understands the very real threats that exist in the world, it's frankly alarming. Private security, while valuable, simply cannot replicate the intelligent networks, the jurisdictional reach, and the inherent authority that comes with official state-provided protection, especially when crossing international borders. To believe otherwise would be ridiculous. The royal family has a choice here. They can continue down a path fueled by perceived slights and rigid adherence to tradition, potentially leaving Harry and his family dangerously vulnerable. Or they can choose to put aside their differences, recognize the real risks involved, and ensure that Harry and his family have the security they need, regardless of where they live or travel. Because in the world I often report on, failure to protect can have irreversible and devastating consequences. Let's dig deeper into why it isn't just tabloid fodder, but a situation where the potential for a truly tragic outcome is almost inevitable. Is King Charles wrong to cut off Harry's security? Today we're diving into a real, sensitive, and frankly quite sad situation unfolding within the royal family. We're talking, of course, about the ongoing rift between King Charles and his son Prince Harry, and the recent reports that the king has essentially cut off ties. That's a whole other story. But the fact that he refuses to take ownership of the royal responsibility to provide official security for Harry and his family is astounding. Now, this isn't new news that there's tension. We've all followed Harry and Meghan's journey, their decision to step back as senior royals, and the subsequent media frenzy. Everyone, I mean everyone, seems to have an opinion on this, from the tabloids to talking heads like Piers Morgan. Social media is constantly buzzing. Now look, I like Piers Morgan. I follow a lot of his stories, but his attack on Harry and Meghan is next level. Let's strip away all the noise, all the speculation and the drama for a second, and look at the core issue here. We're talking about a father and a son, and quite frankly, a grandfather potentially leaving his grandchildren vulnerable. And the reason? Reportedly as a consequence for Harry not adhering to strict royal rules. I mean, Harry has gone off what the royal family considers royal protocol. Let's be clear about something fundamental. Harry was born into this family. He didn't apply for the job of being a prince. It was his birthright, his destiny, for better or for worse. And with that birthright, undeniably comes a certain level of inherent risk. Whether he's a working royal or not, he remains a high-profile figure, a target simply by virtue of his lineage. The idea that security, a basic necessity for the safety of him, his wife, and his children, is being used as punitive measures feels wrong. It feels like a parent punishing a child in a way that could have serious, real-world consequences. We're not talking about grounding here. We're talking about potential for genuine danger. Okay, let's think about it. Even after stepping back, Harry and Meghan have faced constant media intrusion and sadly even threats. Their decision to prioritize their family's well-being and seek a different life shouldn't negate their fundamental right to be safe, especially when given their unique circumstances. No one else in the world is under these same circumstances. Okay, honestly, the constant media bashing of Harry and Meghan for simply wanting to protect their family, it just simply needs to stop. They made a choice, a significant one, and they are living with the consequences of that choice. But the desire for safety isn't a luxury. It's a basic human need, amplified for them due to their background. Look, I understand the complexities of royal security and the arguments around who pays for it when someone steps back. But surely there has to be a way to ensure the safety of a blood member of the royal family, a prince, regardless of their current role, without it being contingent on adhering to every single royal decree. This isn't about taking sides in the ongoing family drama. It's about recognizing the inherent vulnerability that comes with being born in the royal family and the moral obligation to ensure their safety. Not only being born in the royal family, but being the son of Princess Di, who is one of the most famous people to ever be born on the earth. Cutting off security as a punishment sends a harsh message and raises serious questions about the priorities at play. All right, let's add the layer of depth and address the legal arguments while highlighting the potential for Charles to intervene. Now, some might argue that King Charles' hands are tied, that he's simply following court rulings and established protocols regarding royal security. They'll point to legal justifications and the need for consistency. And yes, there are legal frameworks in place, but here's the thing. The monarch, in this case, King Charles, holds a significant degree of influence. Let's face it. While he might cite legal justification, the reality is he possesses the power to require security provisions for his son and grandchildren if he truly deemed it necessary. Now, this isn't about breaking the law. It's about exercising the inherent authority that comes with his position. It's about prioritizing family and safety above strict adherence to legal technicalities. It's about choosing compassion over rigid protocol. Compassion. Remember, there is such a thing. It's not hard to draw parallels to the tragic circumstances surrounding Princess Diana, When she was stripped of her royal security, the consequences were devastating. History seems to be repeating itself, with Harry facing a similar vulnerability, a vulnerability he didn't choose. Let's remember, Harry was born into this life. He didn't ask for the spotlight, the scrutiny, or the inherent dangers that come with being a royal. He is trying to navigate a complex situation, trying to protect his family, and yet he's being met with what feels like a calculated withdrawal of support. To hide behind legal rulings, to claim that his hands are tied when the reality is that he holds the power to make a difference, feels like a deliberate choice to me. He's choosing not even to talk to Harry. This is a choice from King Charles. The fact that he's leaving him vulnerable is a sad fact. This isn't about taking sides in a royal family feud. Did Harry do wrong? Did Meghan do wrong? Did Charles do wrong? This is not about that. This is about safety. It's about recognizing the human cost of these decisions. It's about questioning whether the pursuit of protocol and adherence to rules should outweigh the fundamental right to safety, especially when that safety is within the power of the head of the family to grant. The legal arguments are there, but the moral argument is so much stronger. The moral argument says that a father should protect his son and a grandfather should protect his grandchildren, especially when they are so vulnerable. What do you think? Is King Charles hiding behind legalities? Is he doing everything he can? Or is this a choice that could have a devastating consequence? Okay, let's incorporate the aspect of the perceived unforgivable embarrassment and the never complain, never explain mantra, while still focusing on the disproportionate consequence of potential harm. Let's not shy away from the elephant in the room. Harry and Meghan's interviews, and particularly Harry's book, Spare, undoubtedly aired the royal family's dirty laundry on a global scale. From the family's perspective, this could be seen as a profound betrayal, a breach of trust, and a source of significant embarrassment. The royal family has historically operated under the principle of, as I said, never complain, never explain. Harry and Meghan's very public disclosure shattered that long-held tradition, and it's understandable that this caused deep hurt and resentment within the institution. There might be a feeling that lines were crossed, and for some, those lines might feel unforgivable. So, we have this situation where deep wounds have been inflicted, and the traditional royal approach favors a stiff upper lip and a refusal to engage publicly with criticism. In that context, perhaps the withdrawal of security is seen by some within the family as a necessary consequence, a way to enforce boundaries, and a signal that such a public airing of grievances will not be tolerated. But here's the crucial question we need to grapple with. Even if reconciliation seems impossible right now, even if the embarrassment caused is considered unforgivable within the family's private dynamics, does that justify leaving Harry, a blood member of the royal family, and his children vulnerable to potential harm, even possibly death? The never complain, never explain mantra, while perhaps intended to protect the institution from public scrutiny, takes on a chilling dimension when weighed against the potential for real-world danger. Is upholding this tradition, this preference for silence and internal resolution, truly worth the risk to Harry's life and the lives of his family? We're not talking about a financial penalty or a loss of titles here. We're talking about the removal of a fundamental layer of protection against individuals or groups who might pose a genuine threat simply because of who Harry is. His royal blood, the very thing that placed him in this extraordinary and often difficult position, continues to make him a target, regardless of his current status. Ultimately, the question becomes, where do you draw the line? Where does the desire to uphold tradition and punish perceived transgressions end? The fundamental responsibility to protect a family member begin? Can the concept of unforgivable embarrassment truly outweigh the sanctity of life and the duty of care a father and a king has towards his son? It's a harsh reality to consider, but the potential consequences of leaving Harry without adequate security are far more profound and irreversible than an embarrassment caused by words in a book or an interview. And let's not forget the relentless role the media plays in all of this. From the moment Harry and Meghan stepped back, they have been subjected to an often brutal and unforgiving barrage of criticism. Every decision, every statement, every move they make is dissected, analyzed, frequently twisted into a negative narrative. Why? Why? I ask you. Let's face it, it's a feeding frenzy, and frankly, it's often deeply unfair. The media seems intent on portraying Harry as either disloyal traitor to his family or a weak individual manipulated by his wife. The media is so hot and cold. Remember when they were getting married, it was all, yay, hey, hey, we love Harry, then we hate him. Media is awful. There's rarely room for nuance, rarely an attempt to understand his perspective or acknowledge the immense pressure he has under his entire life. Because tabloids want to sell papers. They go for the underbelly every time. Why? Because that's what sells papers. But is it right? This constant negativity creates a hostile environment, not just for Harry and Meghan emotionally, but potentially in a very real physical sense. It fuels the vitriol online. It can embolden individuals with malicious intent, and it certainly doesn't de-escalate the very real security concerns they face. Think about it. Constant bashing, the relentless scrutiny, it's dehumanizing Harry and Meghan in the public eye. It makes it easier for some to dismiss their concerns, to see them as deserving of the negative attention, and perhaps even to overlook the genuine threats they might face. The media often frames the entire situation as a battle of wheels, a power struggle within the royal family. They focus on the drama, the supposed slights, the insults, rather than the fundamental human need for safety and security. They amplify the unforgivable embarrassment narrative, further justifying in some people's minds the harsh treatment Harry is receiving. At what cost does this relentless negativity come? Does the public's appetite for royal drama justify the constant tearing down of a man who, regardless of his choices, was born into an extraordinary and inherently risky position? I personally think the media has a responsibility to report the news, but there's a significant difference between reporting and relentless persecution. The constant negativity surrounding Harry and Meghan feels far too often like the latter. I think it's time for media, myself included, to come across with a more balanced and humane approach, one that recognizes their fundamental right to safety regardless of the headlines they generate. We need to ask ourselves, are we as consumers of media complicit in this? Are we so caught up in the drama that we're overlooking the very real human being at the center of it? A man who is now potentially being left vulnerable, in part because of the very media circus that surrounds him. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think that King Charles is justified in his decision, or should Harry and his family be entitled to security regardless of their royal status? Let's have a respectful discussion in the comments below, and comment to each other. But please keep it classy. The last thing we want is for history to repeat itself, and for Harry and his family to be vulnerable, like his mother, Princess Diana, was vulnerable because of all the media frenzy trying to get their story. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this out where you can, and I will see you again soon. See ya.